Today I'm going to talk about the Audio Manager plugin that I've shown in a few previous tutorials and walk through how it all works. There will be source code available in the description down below. Let's get started. So here we are in my current project, which is the example project that I have been showing some tutorials in recently. I added a button here that opens the Audio Manager. I just want to show you how it's meant to work. So click the Audio Manager and we have these sliders and these buttons on the side here. If I click this, it toggles the master volume mute. And here's a slider just for music. And a mute button for the music. All right, so now I'm going to talk through how we made this all possible. When we go into the project, there's a tab here called Audio. It starts out with just a master bus, but I added in several other buses. So we have music, sound effects, ambiance, and UI. You can add one just by clicking Add Bus and then setting the name. And I have them all feeding into the master. And then I have a few different audio stream players. So game music feeds into the music bus, wind feeds into the ambiance bus, etc. Now let's jump into the actual code. So first we have to acknowledge that the Audio Manager in my example is a plugin. So that means it is in a directory that has to be in a directory called add-ons. So a subdirectory called Audio Manager. If you don't have an add-ons directory, you just make one by right-clicking, create new folder, and name it add-ons. Once you bring it in, we have to go into the plugin.cfg. It has the name ih_audio manager, and it's pointing at this script, the iHeart Audio Manager, which you can see here. This is a very simple script. It is a tool script that extends the add-on utility. It inits the global path as audiomanager.gd and the global name is Audio Manager. Add-on utility is a tool. It extends editor plugin. It has variables global path and global name. It has a function enter tree, which gets called whenever the plugin gets added to the game project, where it does add autoload singleton with a global name, global path variable. So since we set those, what we're basically doing in our iHeart Audio Manager is we're creating an autoload singleton called Audio Manager that points to the path audiomanager.gd whenever the plugin gets added to the project. So you also need to go into the project settings, and go into this plugins tab. And you can see here there's an ih_audio manager. This is not going to be enabled on default. You have to click enable to add it to your project. And then you will see in your globals tab, the add-ons audio manager/audio manager got added and is enabled under the name Audio Manager. I know everything has the same name, but I'm hoping because I'm showing it on screen, it'll be clear. Now we can start looking at the actual scenes that come with the add-on and take a look at what they do. The audio bar array horizontal is actually a VBox container, but it's named that way because it holds a volume bar horizontal, which means the slider is going to be horizontal. So it's a vertical stack of horizontal sliders, and this is going to hold all your logic. So I included it in a panel container as an example, but you could put this in any sort of UI setup that you have where you want volume bars to be spawned. Audio bar array, it is going to take a couple consts here. So we have a volume bar horizontal and a volume bar vertical. So these are the two choices. These just link to the scenes that are located within the add-on directory. And then we have a master name const and a master index const. The master name I made as a separate thing so that you can control what the master is called if you wanted to name it something else like global or main or whatever. Because if you go into the audio tab, this is not editable, the master tab. So this just gives you the ability to name that something different, but you don't want to change the index. The master index should always be 0. This class also takes in an override volume bar packed scene and an is horizontal sliders boolean. These are both export variables. They'll show up on the right hand side here. What happens is we assume that if we set an override volume bar, that's the one we want to use. And otherwise, this boolean is to say, is it going to be the horizontal sliders or if not the vertical ones? So that's what that really means. What I would imagine someone would do, what I do when I use this add-on is I make an extension of the volume bar horizontal or vertical if I'm using that one so that it fits with my UI. And then I would set this overridden version and then I would put this in whatever panel I actually want to have the list of sliders in. So first we're going to get a dictionary that has the key integer with the value string from the function detect bus data. So detect bus data is going to start out a dictionary using that master index and master name that we defined up above. And it's the dictionary with the integers for a key and the string for the value, as I said. And then it's going to call audioserver.busCount. Audioserver is a great script to take a look at. It's a built-in class that has a lot of information you might want about how the audio system works. So I highly recommend checking this one out and reading it. So it's going to call bus count, which will give us the number of buses that are configured in the audio tab. And it's going to iterate through them by their index. For each index, it's going to first get the bus name, which is by calling audioserver.getBusName. It wants the index of the bus, so we're giving it that. And then we're going to check if the dictionary that we defined up above already has this index. And if it doesn't, then we're going to merge into it the index and the bus name. I realize this could have been internal to here because we don't need the value. So now we'll go through and we'll first check if the dictionary doesn't have the index already. We're doing this specifically to avoid the first index, the 0th index of master, because we don't want to include that twice in the dictionary. We could also just not do a check because on merge by default, if it's already present, nothing's going to happen unless we add in the override. We got the bus name and we're merging it into the dictionary with the index, and then we're returning that dictionary once we've iterated through all the established buses. Now we have audio bus names dictionary, and we're going to run through the keys, which would again be the indices of the buses. And we're going to start by making a new volume bar variable. And depending on the export variable settings that I showed up above, if override volume bar is not null, meaning it was set to anything, then that's going to be what our new volume bar is. Otherwise, we check if the horizontal sliders is true, in which case the new volume bar is going to be set to our constant volume bar horizontal. Otherwise, it's going to be the volume bar vertical. So it's going to be one of the three that gets instantiated. So new volume bar is really a scene, an orphan scene. And then we call on new volume bar set data. That's a function built into the new volume bar script. And that's going to take our bus name and then our index of our bus. And then we're going to add that child to ourselves. Since we are a VBox, it's just going to get added to the list of volume bars. So whatever order you set up these in is going to be the order that they show up in the volume control array. Now let's jump into the volume bar horizontal. So the volume bar horizontal is a little more interesting looking. It's a panel container, and inside of it is an HBox container. We have a name of a bus, the slider for the bus, and a mute button. And the mute button actually has its own script, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, let's take a look at the volume bar script. In this script, we were calling set data from the parent before it gets added to the scene. So it's taking in the bus name and then the bus index number. We're assigning those to global variables here, my bus name and my bus number. And then we're checking if it's inside the tree. It shouldn't be at this point, but we'll check because if we were loading in save data, then it could be. So we're going to call set bus name and set initial value. So first, set bus name is just going to go into the audio bus display name, which is the text label we saw here that has a unique identifiable name. And we're going to set the text. And I actually pass the my bus name through TR, which actually just does a translation. And if you don't have a translator set, if you haven't set up translations, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to assume that there's no translation for it. So you don't have to take this out. And in this example, I added on the .to lower because in this project, I wanted all of the text slider names to be lowercase. I could have also just made lowercase bus names and defined master as lowercase, but So I called set bus name. I also called set initial volume. We're going to set the volume slider value. What we're actually doing when this is called is we're setting the horizontal slider bar value so that it shows what it should be playing as at that moment. In audio server, we're going to call get bus volume decibels, dB, and pass in the index, my bus number. And then we're going to call dB to linear. So this is going to convert the value that we got into a linear representation. We're assigning that as the value of the volume slider. The volume slider is uniquely configured to be a minimum value of 0 and a max value of 1 with a step of 0.001. This way we get a nice amount of precision, and the full range is about what you'd expect for the full range of decibel to linear. We also have a function here called reset slider display, which just calls set initial volume once again. But this isn't really the initial volume. This is just whatever the volume on the bus is. So it's kind of a terrible name. On volume slider value change, we're passing in the value float. What this one's doing is it's reading in anytime the volume slider value updates. So on value changed of this volume slider, what we're doing is we're calling audio manager function audio volume change, and we're passing in my bus number and the slider value, which would be a linear value because the slider, as we said, is a linear representation. We do decibel to linear, and it's between 0 and 1. The mute button extends enhanced button, which I've gone into a bit in the past. I'll include the script for it so you can use it. It takes a integer my channel, and on ready does super, which just sets up the enhanced button, and then it connects on toggled because this button is set to be toggleable. You can see that toggle mode here is enabled. When the toggle happens, it's going to call the function on toggled. We also are going to set the my channel as the owner's my bus number. We should do this first, actually. We call connecting toggled to on toggled, this function down here, and we set the button initially being pressed as audio server function is bus mute of my channel. So this takes in the index of the bus, another helpful function by the audio server. So we're just setting, are we currently pressed or not? Is just based off of if we're currently muted on start. Untoggled is going to be calling the audio manager's function audio muted, which will pass in its channel and whether the toggled on is enabled, so whether or not the button is currently pressed. This function will control audio being muted in the actual audio server. Now let's jump into audio manager. Audio manager is audio underscore manager. We'd mentioned this is what's getting added in the add-on utility. Audio volume change is going to take the bus number, the integer, and the linear volume. So it's acknowledging here it's linear, it's a float. It's going to first calculate volume dB, which is just by passing it through linear to decibel, linear to dB, which is just a built-in function. It does that conversion, and then we call audio server.set bus volume dB. We set the bus index, and we pass in the decibel conversion. Then the other function audio muted, we take in the index of the bus and whether it's muted as a bool, and then we call set bus mute from the audio server. So these are extremely simple functions. They probably could have been built into the UI that uses them, but I did want it to be in a more consolidated area in case these ever change in the future. It's just nice to know where I'm calling it. And then the other two functions are actually just setting up loading and save data. We're going to start with get save data because that will establish what our JSON stored dictionary should look like. We pass in nothing, we return a dictionary, and we start with an empty dictionary, and then we go through all of the indexes of the audio server bus, so audio server.bus count, iterate through it, and we merge into the dictionary a string version of our bus number, and then the key volume dB with the stored value audio server.get bus volume dB of the index. So we're reading in what the current decibel volume is and we're storing that. And then the key muted, and we're calling audio server is bus mute. So true false will return, and we store that as well. And then we're returning that dictionary. I go into how the save structure works a bit more in my save and load tutorial. So then load save data, we're going to take in a dictionary, and for each bus in the bus count that we're currently identifying, we're going to convert the integer bus number to a key string. And if the dictionary has that bus key, so the string, because as I mentioned, we stored it as a string. Then we're going to call audio server, set bus volume dB of the index, so the integer version, and then a float conversion of the bus key and then volume dB in the dictionary. We do the same thing for bus mute with the muted key. It would have been good to store the keys as a const instead of typing them twice, because that's a chance for error, but something I'll have to improve for future versions of the project. I think that's all there was to cover. I hope you found this helpful, and if there's anything else you want a tutorial on, please let me know in the comments. I hope you have a nice one.